Hello, everyone. I hope I'm audible, and hello to all that had been in the conference today. Thank you, Vue.js Nation, for having me again and letting me show a lot of cool 3D stuff made with Vue to the audience. So here I have a little web game that is completely done in Vue, believe it or not, and it has some cool effects like the lasers and all the glowing, etc. It's like a space theme kind of game, and it's using as well like the library that we are going to talk today. So let me get back to my slides. Of course, I'm using a slide deck for the win. So I present to you today shiny, pretty, and post-processed 3GS effects for jaw-dropping visuals. My name is Alvaro Saburido. I'm a developer experience engineer at Storyblog, living in Barcelona, Spain, but originally from Venezuela. Creating a lot of content. Well, I used to on my YouTube channel when I had time. My portfolio that is never finished, you can see it at alvarosaburido.dev, and you can always say hi on my socials. So, what is post-processing? Cute little glitched cat. So, this is how a 3D scene could look like without post-processing. And this is how it can be seen with post-processing. If the recording and also the streaming goes well, you will see that it glows and also it has some glitches in the way. By the way, these are two 3D scenes completely live on the slide deck. So what is post-processing? Post-processing is a technique that consists in adding effects to the final render or the final image of a scene, okay? But it's often used actually in filmmaking and gaming. But we can use it in web too. It's the same concept. So, for example, this movie, I think it's Blade Runner, has a lot of like post-processing and color grading. So how this magic works? We have our 3D scene made with TresJS, 3GS, and Vue. Then the effect composer, which is the component responsible of that, will take one of the images, okay, one of the snapshots of the scene, and will create something that is called the render pass. Then it will add another effect to it. So the next frame is going to have this effect of bloom. Bloom is when it glows, okay? And then we can add another effect, which could be recoloring or changing the hue and the saturation of the image. With that, we have a final output that is what the user see on the 3D scene. Cool. Why will I do that? So there are a couple of reasons, mostly separation of concerns. So you have a process in the main pass, and then you have your after effects. For performance, because this is only going to apply to the final render. So you are not creating these effects live on the scene with 3GS. You're doing it on the final snapshot. It's like a more like image processing kind of thing. And of course, you have a lot of artistic control. We can apply more effects that we could do in the normal pipeline, let's say. Okay, cool. So how does post-processing look in TresJS? Quick recap about TresJS. TresJS is a Vue custom renderer that allows you to create 3D scenes declaratively. So as you will do with Vue components and composals, okay? Tres is the word for 3DS on Spanish because, yeah, I'm Venezuelan, so it makes sense. And this is the website. Here you can see the dogs and yeah, get to know a little bit more. Probably later I'm gonna share, stay a little bit more in the chat so I can share the links there, okay? For now, I'm just gonna move on. If you wanna get started, you can install it in your package manager of choice by using pnpm add TresJS core and also using tree as a peer dependency. Or you can play in our playground, which is a nice like live coding thing that we have, like single file components similar to the one that Vue have, and you can experiment with Vue right away here. Okay. So let's build our first 3D scene, because I know that 3D is still an relatively unknown topic in Vue development. So let's add the Tres canvas, which is the main component that will render the scene in a canvas from the core package. So we import it here and we add it to our template. We can select also some props, for example, to make it visible on the whole window. Then we are going to create the subcomponent, because it's a good practice to dividing components, right? And we are going to create it inside of it. It's called the experience. But what does the experience that Vue has? It has a template, and we're going to add a perspective camera. So any 3JS class that you have in 3JS, if you prefix it the word tres, it's going to be available as a component. And all the setters, all the properties are going to be props. So we can add a camera, and we're going to add something simple. We're going to add a sphere that has a hot pink color, like we saw in the beginning. Then we're going to add some light to be able to see something in the scene. And voila, we have our first scene ever. So congratulations to you. Clap in the back. You did your first 3D. What about the post-processing part, right? Because I showed you the sphere. Now let's add some of the cool effects that we saw at the beginning with the spaceship, right? So because it can be a little bit tough to implement those by hand, we created a package that enables the DX in another level. So it will be the same declarative style that you will achieve with TresJS, but also apply it to the effects. So we launched relatively like last year, I think, but it has increased until version 2 right now, is the post-processing effect composer. Same documentation, you can take a look at it afterwards. I'm gonna go to the second screen and explain a little bit how the package works. So we have two kind of effects. We have effects from 3JS. So it's based on all the examples of post-processing that 3JS documentation has that are available with 3D add-ons. And then we have some special effects that are from Poimandres, which is an organization that created React 3 Fiber. They have been innovating a lot, and they create an ecosystem to make 3JS easy for frameworks. So we're going to use one of their libraries who create new classes for post-processing effects. So to use the native 3JS ones, we just need to import the effect composer and one of the effects that we want to use from TresJS post-processing. And then along with our Tres canvas, along with the scene, we are going to add a suspense, because it's an asynchronous operation. We need suspense. We're going to add the effect composer, and inside of it, we're going to pass our passes or effects. Same DX, we're going to have the properties as props. So to be able to see the bloom, we need to change a little bit our sphere, or at least the material of the sphere. And we need to add something called emissive. So this is the intensity that we want that material to emit light. Okay, and we also need to say what color do we want to emit. Once we have that, this is how it looks with the 3JS native effects. It glows. Okay, so let's see Poimandres effects. Same concept, but all the Poimandres effects are available with the suffix Poimandres. So to differentiate the types and the components, we added to all the components like related to it the suffix of Poimandres. Okay, so it was gonna be the same DX. You have your scene, and then you add a suspense with the effect composer and the bloom. Okay, the bloom in Poimandres is called different. It's not Unreal, because it's not based on how Unreal Engine does it. It's a different implementation, and you will see why. So if you add that one, you're going to see a different result, but it also glows. So we achieve something nice here. If we have a comparison of between the two effects, we can notice that there are some difference, right? Personally, I like more the Poimandres effect because it's more subtle. Here you have a little bit more exposure on terms of the lighting and the difference between the halo and the rest. This is a little bit more subtle. And of course, the props change. So you might be wondering, like, which one I choose. I will say choose the one that you like the most, as always. So if you like more the effect or the visual effect that the Poimandres dress does, use the Poimandres dress ones. There is no better or worse, okay? So I'm really happy to announce that we just released it version 2.1.0. I had to do the Twitter announcement. I forgot about it. I had to do it after this. But it's already in GitHub, okay? And what is exciting is that it adds 13 new effects available thanks to Tino and Damien for leading this. Tino is the leader of the owner of post-processing, and Damien just joined and add a ton of new effects, super cool, that I'm going to showcase in a little bit. So we have things like barrel blur, kuwahara, I don't know how to pronounce that, dot, screen length distortion, and more. But let's go to my favorite part because, of course, I have my favorites. So I want to showcase some of them to you. This is the barrel blur Poimandres effect. And I really like this one because it gives like a really weird shiny effect. This is a metallic object and we can play around with it and like change the amount. So this is gonna be like without effect. And then we can increase it and distort it completely. And we can also offset like in the x-axis and the y-axis, which is kind of cool. You can also change like, well, you cannot see the drop down, but you can change the blending mode, similar like how Photoshop or any software works with the blending modes, like Blender as well. You can play with that. This is one of my favorites. So this is Kuwahara. I write it wrong, but it's watercolor actually. Okay, it adds a watercolor effect to your scene. So let me move around. Okay, you can probably see here. This demo is by Damien, so it's really nice. You can change the radius, so how strong the effect is gonna be. You can even play with this and animate it so it looks live, like a I don't know, like a movie. Okay. Be aware that the more radius and sector count you play with, the lower the performance is going to be because it's really difficult to calculate this. So be aware of that when you use it. This one is pretty cool. If you ever read comics or you see this effect in movies, this is like a dot screen kind of effect where you see some, yeah, the shadows like the shadows and the midpoints as dots. So we can change the angle of them and even the size of them, which is kind of cool. And you can see this pretty performant because think that this is a 3D scene with the controller inside of a slide dev while I'm live casting this through the system. So it is working quite well. Then we have another one that I love is the pixelation effect. So same demo, but if I enable it, now everything is pixel art. You can change the amount of pixels, so how defined it is, which is a cool technique that some video games use to make things 3D look like pixel art. What else do we have? Oh yeah, fine, but not least, we have this scanline effect that simulates all monitors. This is kind of cool when you do it inside of a TV. You're doing the modeling of 3D, and you add it inside. You can change the density, so how many lines do you have, opacity, you name it. There are so many stuff, and this is only like 4 or 5 of the new ones that are available. I haven't played with them all. So you can thank Damien for that. I don't know how with time, but let's start wrapping up. What's next for you? So give Tres and Tres post processing a try. I would love to see more people playing with Vue in playing with 3D in Vue. That's what we are here for. Um, and if you create some scene, please share it with us. I'm more than like happy to share it on the socials. And also, we have a Discord channel where you can, get some insights from other people that is creating cool projects. If you also a Vue developer and you want to contribute, please, we need contributors to make more things like this. And talking about contributors, this library and all the sub packages are only possible because contributors help us make it happen. So a big shout out to all of them. I don't know if this is updated, it pretty much is, but I would love to see your face here. And also, another way that you can support us is by GitHub sponsors, because it's really cool to be able to afford coffee, right? So please send your coffees to the team so we can continue doing some 3D. And thank you for everyone that is already contributing to us. Thank you very much. And that's all for my side today.
All right. Thank you, Alvaro. It looks like we have 2 questions for you. That's all we'll have time for today is there a plan to support .usd files on TresJS?
If I'm correct, USD files is a kind of format for objects. So it's probably possible that you already can do it. You can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I saw a message. So it's possible that it's already possible if you pass the USD loader. I think somebody in the Discord channel already asked for this. So ping me there, and I will ping you to the correct documentation. We don't have a specific USD loader as abstraction in CentOS, but maybe will be nice to have it.
All right. And last question of will complex 3D renderings require a lot of resources from the client browser?
With every iteration, it requires less. Of course, we're talking about 3D, same as in animations in the browser. You need to be mindful about performance and how many things you're rendering. But yeah, we have some cases of really complex 3D scene renderings and models. You need to take care of the optimization, of course. The more optimized is same as games. They need to optimize resources, right? So it's also something that you will do with a normal website, that you optimize the resources so the score is good and the user experience is great. Similar concept to 3D. There is another render that is in the making, which is a web GPU, which uses a different, it's not WebGL, that has amazing benchmark results. That's the future. We're still not supported. We have a PR open for support, but we are gonna wait for it to be more stable to offer it. But yeah, you can do pretty cool stuff in web. I will invite you to go to the Discord channel and see the showcases, because there are really complex ones there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Alvaro. Always good to see your talks. Thank you.